So tonight I'm going to be talking about the do's and don'ts to spend less time on social media and get more leads. So first of all, a bit about myself. So I have over 15 years experience in marketing and digital, including 10 years experience in social media. I co-founded one of the first digital marketing agencies specialized in social media in Hong Kong in 2010. And I've worked with clients of all sizes, from large corporates to solopreneurs. But since I founded Digital with Claire about 5 years ago, my focus has been on helping small businesses take the stress out of social media. And I do that through consultancy and training. So I do one-to-one power hours and half-day trainings. So I'm going to be going through some do's and don'ts to help you spend less time on social media and get more clients from social media. So let's start with this first one. So do set yourself goals and don't just throw yourself in. So you need to know what you want to achieve through your social media platform. So is it leads, is it sales, is it connections, website visits? And you need to be very specific about it. So in terms of numbers. And if you just throw yourself into social media with no goals, you will definitely 100% feel like you're spending too much time on social media because you don't have a clear direction. Once you've got goals, then you know what the right actions are to reach your goals. So that can be writing specific content. So for example, if you want sign-ups to a specific event, you can prepare your content in advance to reach that goal. You can have the right calls to action, like DM me or visit my online shop, or you can even do advertising if that's something that you need in order to reach the goal that you've set yourself. So the next one is do track your time. So either manually or using an app. It's actually quite easy to track how much time you spend on Instagram, for example. If you go to your menu, your activity time, you can actually set yourself daily reminders or limits of how much time you spend on the platform, and it tells you how much time on average you spend on the platform. And it's really interesting to see how much time you do spend on the platform. You might be surprised. And you can also use apps like Freedom, which disable specific apps for a certain amount of time if you really want to focus on something. And don't just let yourself fall in a rabbit hole. It's so easy with social media to open up your social media thinking, I need to respond to some messages, to some DMs, and then you just start scrolling and start looking at your stories, and you just fall into a rabbit hole. So the way that I do it is I take my notebook before I go on the app, and I write a social media to-do list. So I write down, okay, I need to respond to comments, I need to check my analytics, and then I open the app, I look at, I start doing what I need to do, and then if I start scrolling, start looking at my stories, I go back to my notebook, and I go back to what I was planning to do. So do plan your posts and don't put your heart and soul into every post. So ideally you should be planning your post maybe once a month or every 2 weeks. And it helps you first reach your objectives, because when you're planning, you're thinking about the goals and what you're trying to achieve. And also it means that you don't spend too much time every day thinking about what you want to post. And if you're planning posts, you're more systematic, and you don't need to be thinking and putting your heart and soul into every post every day. So once you have some recurring themes or topics, for example, Motivation Monday or Wellness Wednesday or different awareness days that you're aware of, then it's not as hard to plan every post. So always keep in mind that the 80-20 rule, which is 80% giving, sharing information, 20% promoting. And if you need any monthly ideas for your content, every month I post 10 easy content ideas on my Instagram. So I'll share in the comments, I'll share my Instagram handle, which is @digitalwithclaire. So do organize your content. Have all your photos, videos in a folder, and save all your content ideas somewhere. Maybe write all your content in a spreadsheet so that you have everything in one place. And don't spend time each day thinking or researching content. So it's better to batch and to search and create content once or twice a month, rather than having to think about what am I going to post, what image I need to find every day when you're posting. So do interact with your followers. If you only have a few minutes one day and you don't have a post, it's much better to actually go on the platform and comment, like your followers or people you follow's content, rather than creating new content of your own. So you should be spending at least as much time interacting as broadcasting. So don't just broadcast. You want to be building a community of advocates. So in order to do that, you need to be their advocate, you need to support them, you need to show your personality, you need to show that you're present. And people want to interact with people, not brands. So you just really need to show that you're a real person and to show yourself. So join pods, but don't bite to more than you can chew. So engagement pods are groups of people who engage with each other's posts, and it helps visibility. So do join pods or accountability groups, but try not to join too many, and try to abide by the rules, because, for example, on Instagram, they're not allowed, but there are ways to make it work. If you create a pod that's genuine with people you know, it can help. Just don't advertise that you're setting up a pod on social media, for example. And just don't join too many pods, because they can be very time consuming, but they can be helpful to boost visibility. It also takes away the fear of the first commenter, because you have other people who support you who've already commented on your posts. And it's a great way to build your network as well. So test a new pod for a few weeks. If you're getting as much out as you're giving, then it's worth staying. Otherwise, just leave the pod. It's not worth it. So do turn off notifications, and don't check the platform every time you receive a notification. So don't be afraid to turn off notifications. It's not necessary to have all of them on all the time. So here's a few ways of managing notifications. So you can take breaks, for example, at weekends or evenings. You can turn off notifications, but set an alarm each day for a certain platform. So for example, I don't receive any notifications for Facebook, but I know that every evening I need to check my Facebook just to make sure that I've responded to any comments, and I just keep an eye on that. You can also put WhatsApp groups on mute for 8 hours or a week. And you can also just keep notifications for urgent things. So that can be, that's something that you can think about, that you only have notifications for things that are really important. And just don't open the app every time you receive a notification, because this is really tempting, and there's a real risk of that rabbit hole I was talking about earlier. So do prioritize platforms, and don't try to be on every platform. You want to make sure that your business is on the platforms where your potential clients are. So just to give a really high level example. If your clients are a bit older, Facebook might be a good place to be. Instagram is for more creative people. TikTok is younger. Pinterest is for affluent women. Twitter is more media, tech. LinkedIn is B2B. There's a lot more that we can talk about around that, but just have a think about where your potential clients are rather than where you want to be, or the platforms that you're used to. And just prioritize 1 or 2 main platforms. And if you want to keep the other ones, you can consider mirroring content to the other platforms. Or you can even consider disabling some of your accounts while you're working hard on the other platforms. So next, do try new features, but don't bother with anything that you don't enjoy. So you never know, you might discover something that you really enjoy when you try new features, or that gets better engagement from your audience. Examples are, some people really enjoy stories because they find them fun and easy to use. Some people really enjoy the new type of short form videos like Reels or TikTok. It could also be worth trying Canva images, or just playing around with Canva. But something to keep in mind is just don't bother with anything you really don't enjoy. If you're going to be doing it yourself, it's just not sustainable. Obviously, if you're going to be working with an agency or a VA, then maybe pass it on to them if it's something that you don't want to do. Next, do use a scheduling tool, but don't just use a scheduling tool. So the scheduling tool is all about planning, and I talked about planning earlier. And it's also great to schedule so that you know your posts are going out at the best time, even when you're busy or if you have any time off. And it means that you never forget to post. And it's easier to schedule than to have to search for your text and for your image each day. But at the same time, don't just use a scheduling tool. You need to make sure that you go onto the platform. So I actually prefer to use post reminders for my channels. So I can actually go on the platform, interact with followers, respond to any comments, search for hashtags, and all that before I post, and then I post, and that helps. And try to be authentic. So be yourself. People want to work with people, and you'll build a much better quality community if you're yourself and you're genuine and you try to get to know your followers and to build relationships with them. And don't waste your time worrying about the algorithm. So several times a week I get questions or people telling me you shouldn't do this, or you should leave this because it's better for the algorithm, or the algorithm doesn't like this. In reality, no one knows exactly how the algorithms of social media platforms work, and they change all the time. So the best way to deal with it is to be yourself and post for your followers, and post things that you want to see, that your followers want to see. Keep an eye on your analytics, but just don't worry too much about the algorithm, because it can be very, very time consuming. So to summarize, so how to spend less time on social media. It's good to plan maybe a month, a whole month of content, or a couple of weeks. Get organized, have all your images in the same place, or your videos. Track and limit your time. So just being mindful about how much time you're spending on social media can really help you spend less time. Turn off your notifications so that you don't open the apps every single time that you receive a new notification. Schedule your posts, and prioritize the channels that you think where you think your followers are, and that are getting the best interest. And how to get more leads. Be yourself. Always keep your goals in mind. Make sure that you always have clear calls to action in every post. Build a community, so interact as much as possible with your audience, and be as recognizable as possible. So you want people to recognize you as soon as they see one of your posts. You want them to know that it's you, and that's a great way to get people to keep seeing your content and to remember you. So if you would like to learn more about any of these topics, or if you'd like to book a power hour, feel free to get in touch with me. You can get a £15 discount if you book before the end of March, sorry. And the type of topics that I cover in my power hours are social media, just general social media strategy or content strategy, Instagram growth, setting up a Pinterest account, improving your Facebook presence. So I cover all social media platforms and topics. So that's my website. I'll copy all this in the chat box as well. And please follow me at Digital with Claire on Instagram.